Hello everyone, my name is Bhargav. I'm a developer at Archie.ai, and today we'll be having a tutorial on how to build a bot using natural language processing in 10 minutes. So it is basically like for beginners or even intermediate level developers who have never built a bot or who already knows how to build a bot but wants to know how to use NLP and use that technology here. So before we jump into details about today's tutorial, I will give you a brief recap of what has happened so far. We have had 5 AI workshops and 3 other tutorials. First one was building a bot using Watson conversation. One was building a Google Assistant app. And the last one, which was on Monday, was a generative adversarial network model that was also built in a few minutes. So, all right, getting back to today's tutorial. So what is natural language processing? Basically, that is a service or a technology which helps minimize the language barrier between humans and machines and helps understand machines to interact with humans in text and voice. So, all right, getting into the tutorial, all you need is Excel sheet to start with. Here's the Excel sheet. I've already built one, and here we see that on the left side in column A at 8 has text sentences which says all the questions which users can basically ask. So I've mentioned about age. So basically this is like human tendency to ask some foolish questions first, and knowing about the bot, what the bot is able to do and whether it is capable of answering some basic questions. So like age, or what do you do, what is your work, or what are you here for? So those are some basic questions. Now here I've taken a basic example of building a coffee bot. So that is something easy for anyone to catch up with. So it's not necessary and specific for you to just use this service for coffee, but you can use this over any topic and not necessarily coffee right now. So the first one is few questions on the left side, which says what's your age, how are you young, are you younger than you think? So these all belong to one class, that is age. So it's not necessary that you just define class in one way or the way I have defined it. You can also define the class in like basically about hyphen age. It's up to you. It depends on how you understand classes. Now the other questions here are what are the different kind of coffee the bot might sell. So it's like black coffee, caramel latte. There are many more options like mocha latte, vanilla latte. And there are more questions here about when you go to the bot, you'll just be like, I want to buy a coffee, or could you get me a coffee? So those all questions belong to this class, which is buy_coffee. So again, it's not necessary for you to define the class like this. You can define the class in whatever way you want. All right, and there are more options like coffee options if the user wants to know what coffee does the bot sell, and what does the bot do, and how the bot is behaving, or what does the bot do in the entire day. So these are the questions on the left column, and on the right side are the classes. Now this is basically a way of defining the data you will use for your bot to understand, or the questions your user might ask to the bot. So once you have this data ready, all you have to do is save this in a .csv format, because the service we are using is Watson Natural Language Classifier, and that just accepts .csv files and nothing else. So save it in a .csv format and then go to Google. Just search Watson Natural Language Classifier. And whatever the link pops up, try to click on that, get started for free. So it is a free to use service. As long as you are just using one instance, that is just one single classifier a month, and not more than 1,000 API calls. So if you are within that criteria, your service will be totally free. So I think if you're starting with building a bot, I think you will stay within the free period. So you're good to start with that. Now you can click create. Now that once we click create, it will take us to the next screen, which will basically have all the details like manage, where you can click access the beta toolkit. If we click that, it will directly take us to the Watson ecosystem. Before we go there, I'll show you what else are the things you'll need for your bot to work. That is service credentials. So under the key name, click on the drop down of view credentials. Now here you'll see the URL. This URL is something which you can use once your entire bot is built, and basically you use this to call the APIs. Now it also has username and password, so it is a unique username and password. By the time this live stream is over, this is not going to work. So this URL, username, password, once you have these three things, you're good to go. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, training this Excel sheet takes a little time. It depends on the size of the data. Our data is 115 texts and a few classes, so it should take like 15 minutes. I don't want to waste that time, so I've already trained the classifier and it's ready for you. So it's here. Yeah. So when you go to, just like I said, I've already trained the entire classifier using Excel sheet, right? We'll start with how a person will come to the bot and be like, hello. I think I've already written hello here. So you can see that it responds with 1.00% accurate, 1.00 accuracy. So that is the probability of the confidence level of the classifier. Watson is 100% confident that the hello question is responding with a hello response, right? Now let's say the next question we can ask is like, let's say the user wants to ask the same question in a different way. It could be like, misspelling the same words. It will respond with a 0.87 accuracy level. That is 87% accurate. That this belongs to the hello class. Now, the difference between a regular bot and a natural language processing bot is that it tries to find the patterns between different alphabets in a word and see which one is the most relevant class to the particular question the user asks. So after hello, the user could ask something like, how are you doing, my bot friend? Let's see what it responds with. It says doing underscore well, 0.97%, 0.97 probability of accuracy. Now it is 97% sure that this question belongs to this class. Now, if this was supposed to be on a bot, of course, it is not a good way to respond like doing underscore well. So you should have a predefined response to all these classes, and you can call those responses according to the class. So you can have a response like, I'm doing great. How are you? And to just have a flow of the conversation. Now, after this, you can ask something like, I would like to order a coffee, please. All right, it responds with, again, 0.97, buy underscore coffee. So these are the questions which are very relevant to the questions I've already mentioned in the database. Now, you might be wondering, let's say if we take a question which is not in the database, because humans can ask questions in different ways, there are variations, and again, so let's check out what happens if you're asking a question which was not in the database. So I've already written those questions to make sure that it is not at all relevant to the database. So I'll ask about, I need a green tea. This is something which was not in the database because I've built a coffee bot and there was no tea option within the entire database. So it responds with a 0.32 probability. Now, it will still respond, right? It is not sure at all that this answer is accurate. Now, what you can do is, in such cases, you can have a predefined threshold that any of the responses or any of the response classes having below 50% or below 40%, you just don't show that answer and have a default response saying that, sorry, I do not understand that. Or can you please ask me something else? I do not support that. So anything like that. There's one more question. Smoothie with a cherry on top. It responds with a hello class with a 25% accuracy. Now again, that is not in the database. So any of these kind of questions will not at all show the user, the responses, and it will give the default answer of, sorry, I do not understand. Now this is the entire Watson ecosystem. Now, how do you improve the bot? You might be wondering, there might be questions like, which are giving accurate answers, but you still want to see that increasing the accuracy from 60% to 100% to make sure that next time when the same question is asked, the bot is able to respond accurately. What you can do is, let's go to this one. I would like to order a coffee. We can click on this one of the classes, that is buy_coffee, because we are sure that this is the exact class we want the bot to respond with, right? You can click on that and add to training data, which is on the right side of the screen. Now that question with that class directly gets added to the existing database. Now you can do this with multiple questions and multiple classes and keep on training the bot until you are sure that, okay, now the bot is able to respond accurately. Now, once you start populating the data with more and more sentences and more classes, increase the database to such a length, it could be thousands and thousands of text and class responses, so that the bot becomes extremely accurate to understand the user's need. Once you are sure that you have enough data, again click on create classifier, and now this time it will also consider the added questions and classes and create a new classifier which will have an entirely new database and also a higher accuracy. You can also add more classes, and not only the classes which exist here. You can see on the left column, add a class. So on that side you can add a class, and on the right side you can add text. So more classes, more text, and you just train the classifier. Yeah. So actually that's pretty much it. Once you have done this part, also training the entire bot again, and you are ready to use this, you just need to have a user interface. Now it could be an already existing user interface, or maybe you are building a new user interface, and just use the URL, the unique username and password. Again, the username and password will stay the same, but there is a classifier ID which is created every time you create a new classifier. So I'll click on the classifiers right now. We just have one classifier, which is natural language processing _ live stream. I've specially built right now. So there is a classifier ID which is AD940BX, whatever. So you just use this unique classifier ID, the username, and the password. These three things, and your bot is ready. It's like hardly 10 minutes. I built this in around 30 minutes to make sure that I'm having proper sentences, proper classes. But for you to do it, I think there is enough data available online. You can use the already existing data and just use these three things once it is built, and you just start calling the API and you will have the responses ready. Now, this is a beginner level bot building session, but let's say if you want to do an advanced portion of the same tutorial, I can do that too, but I'll probably do that if you guys like this one. And in the next one, what we can basically see is how we are calling the APIs, as in the predefined responses using the class. So let's say age. You can have a predefined response saying, I was built on this particular date or something like that. So every time the user asks a question about the bot's age, you can have that response pop up. That's pretty easy actually, but I will not be covering this time. Now I've also made one more tutorial which was on using Watson conversation and building a bot in 10 minutes. Now I'm doing the same thing using natural language processing. If you are seeing this tutorial and also seeing the previous one, you might be having questions about why build a bot using two different services, and how does it make a difference? So Watson conversation is a little different than what Watson natural language classifier is. Conversation basically keeps in mind the context of the entire conversation flow. So let's say you've asked, hey, how are you? So it basically keeps a track of the previous questions which you have already asked, and it will go with the flow. But in natural language processing bot, it just does QA. You ask a question, bot responds with an answer, and it forgets whatever was asked previously. So this is a form of Google Assistant. Google Assistant is built on the same platform that is using natural language processing. It does not remember what questions you have asked before, and it just does a question and answer based rule system. So that is the only difference, the major difference. And the second major difference is natural language processing understands how a user is writing questions, no matter whether that is present in dataset or not. So there might be many ways of asking for a coffee. Can I buy a coffee? Can you help me get a coffee? So all these questions, Watson tries to find the patterns between these sentences and sees which is the most relevant class that I can pull and produce in front of the user. So that is how natural language processing is better in understanding the user's question and not just saying that, sorry, I do not understand every single time. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And before I sign off, I'd like to say that I've also built something very similar to similar using natural language processing. We have built Archie.ai on the natural language processing and machine learning. So we are using AI, natural language processing, machine learning to get responses on Google Analytics. If you'd like to check out how that works, you can sign up on www.archie.ai and see how natural language processing works. Maybe that will help you get an idea of building a bot yourself. Thank you for watching us today. And if you have any questions, comments, drop us a line below. And I'll also be posting the YouTube channel link. It already has a huge content on AI and other tutorials which you can use to build bots or maybe generative models. Leave us a comment anytime and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you guys. We'll see you back on Monday.